Hello, boys and girls. Greg from the Scary Spirits Podcast here to make you another cocktail. This week's cocktail is the Quatermass Cocktail. We're going to start. Shake it with ice. To that, we're going to add 1.5 ounces of vodka. Three-quarters of an ounce honey syrup, which is just honey and warm water. 3/4 of an ounce. There you go. Maybe a little more. It's honey. It's healthy. Three-quarters of an ounce lime juice. And 2 ounces of apple cider or apple juice. Two ounces. Then we shake. Going to strain it into a lowball glass. I put ice in mine. It does not say that, but look at there. And it says to sprinkle with sugar and cinnamon. I think I'm just going to put a cinnamon stick in there. Same difference. Also, you can always add dry ice for effect. Duh. There you have it. Quatermass Cocktail. Pretty good. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy the podcast. See ya.
In 1955, when this week's movie on the Scary Spirits podcast, The Quatermass Experiment, first appeared in theaters, space exploration was just over the horizon, but coming up quickly. Space was an unknown entity then, and remains largely one today. But it is interesting to see how imaginations ran wild, even when the rocket was only going 1,500 miles into space. It makes me think, with tourist space travel getting closer for everyone every day, that after watching poor Victor in this film, I think I'll full-on pass on any space rides. It's a no from me. Cheers!
Welcome to the Scary Spirits Podcast. Please be advised that the presenters may use adult language and/or discuss adult situations. This podcast is not intended for younger listeners or those that may be easily offended. So, if you're ready, let's go.
Hello, boys and girls. I'm Greg.
Hi, everyone. I'm Karen.
And welcome to the Scary Spirits Podcast. the podcast that combines the two very different yet highly compatible worlds of scary films and alcoholic spirits.
What could possibly go wrong?
And it occurs to me, Karen, I'm not even sure we've ever confirmed that they're highly compatible worlds. But obviously,
What are you talking about, Greg? Of course they're highly compatible worlds.
I know we're like, what, 200 and
200 and how many? And all of a sudden you're questioning whether they're
28
compatible?
episodes?
What could be more compatible?
I guess they are. I
You
stand
shut your
corrected.
mouth.
I stand corrected, boys and girls.
I think we've confirmed 228 times that they are compatible.
Karen is correct as always. How are you, Karen?
I am correct. How are you, Craig?
You always have to be right. I am good.
No, I do not always have to be right, but that's good.
Thank you for asking.
It is what we do.
Karen, was this week's film my choice or your choice?
This was your choice. You
Oh,
wanna
was
tell?
it?
Yeah, tell everyone what you chose.
Film I have chosen is a Hammer production from 1955.
Is it the first Hammer?
The very first official,
Well,
according
Hammer
to my
horror.
list, Hammer horror film.
I think it's a horror film. I mean, it's science fiction, but still.
It's as much as a horror film as fucking Plan 9 from Outer Space.
Or The Blob.
Or The Blob, yeah. So, yeah.
Look at him disparaging both my movies. I can see we're going to be antagonistic today, are we?
No, horror, sci-fi, 1950s, it's called all kind of interchangeable. Like it was a very gray area back in those days, Karen. Apparently. It's a film called The Quatermass Experiment.
It's not Quatermass.
It is
It's
Well,
Quatermass.
in the US, what?
Look at the title. They call him Quater,
Oh my God,
Quater.
it is. It is
And I said it
Quatermass.
wrong the entire time.
I did too. No
It's
way.
a person's last name. Is it, or am I wrong?
Yes. No, that's correct.
Oh, see, I am correct. Just as I said.
It is Quatermass.
They call him call him
my
Quatermass or something.
Quatermass.
Quatermass. The entire, and I'm like, what are they saying? Why are they being so weird? And then I finally looked it up because it was driving me crazy. And I'm like, oh my God, I've been saying it wrong the whole time. So have you, apparently.
I'm seeing it for the first time as that in it's like the Mandela effect, Karen. I could have sworn it was Quatermass.
You would have bet the house on it.
I would have. But it's the Quatermass Experiment from 1955, known in the US as The Creeping Unknown, which I kind of like better.
Yeah. And I would have said that one correctly the entire way through.
Yes, I would too.
Do you have a drink to go with it?
I do, Karen.
And what's that?
The drink
So
I have,
is it the Quatermass
it's
drink or is it the Quatermass?
Oh,
Quatermass. How are we
it
going to
does say
say it?
Quatermass, but I assume it's the Quatermass cocktail. I just automatically put an R in there.
I did too.
So we're going to need 1.5 ounces of vodka, 3/4 of an ounce honey syrup, which is 50% honey and 50% warm water. 3/4 of an ounce lime juice and 2 ounces of apple cider or juice. Going to pour those into a shaker with ice. We're going to shake and strain into a low ball glass. And then we're going to sprinkle with sugar and cinnamon. I just put a cinnamon stick in mine. It's fantastic. And then we could add dry ice for effect, and then we enjoy.
So I went a little rogue on this one because yesterday I felt like I needed a drink, Greg, and I wanted it to be fall-like. So I made this.
Fall-like.
It is, but I made a drink that is very similar to this in a big pitcher. It's apple juice, but it's caramel vodka, cinnamon sticks, and pieces of apple, and you let it sit. So it's very similar, but I'm just like,
Is it?
It is. The only thing really
You
different
don't have
is
honey in it?
I put honey in it
All right, then.
for this.
Okay.
Right before I just drizzled some honey and stir it up in there, but
Probably
it's
got more honey
delicious.
than me then.
It's delicious.
I only had half of 3/4 of an ounce of honey in mine.
Oh, But the caramel vodka really adds a fall punch to it.
I'll bet it does. That sounds delicious, Karen.
It is delicious. I'm sure yours is too.
Now I wish I had caramel vodka.
Well, that's kind of all I had. So I'm acting like but I didn't have regular vodka, and I looked through and I was like, oh, I'm going to make this other drink. So,
All right. Should we give our friends and listeners time to make their own Quatermass cocktail, I guess is what it is.
let's go ahead and do that.
I don't know. Hold on. And we're back.
Yes, we are.
I watched the movie. You would think I would know what it would be called. I'm just going to call it The Creeping Unknown.
Let's just save us a lot of
Yeah. Let's just
angst by just calling it the creeping unknown.
Yeah, because that's what it is in the United States. And of
Not the
course, we're
creepy
always
unknown.
right. We will call it what we want.
Well, we already were calling it what we want.
Yes, we were. Karen, might you have a brief synopsis for us of this film from way back in 1955? Remember 1955, Karen?
I do not.
I do not either. Way before our time.
And I do have a synopsis.
Thank you. Go on. Tell us all the story.
An astronaut returns to Earth after an experimental space flight, afflicted by a strange fungus that transforms him into a murderous monster. After bullets and bombs fail to stop the creature, brilliant scientist Professor Quatermass becomes mankind's last hope of survival.
There it is again. Quatermass. I
This
didn't see
is-
any bullets and bombs, Karen.
No,
I'm
and
just
he
saying.
doesn't, he's not the last hope either. So it's,
Hey,
well, the first sentence is good.
yes. That should.
They
That's
do
the
go to
synopsis.
space. Yeah.
And I don't know it's a fungus, but they never
No,
say
that's
that.
true.
but
They don't say it.
I could see where someone would think it is. All right, Karen, tell us everything you really enjoyed or were pleasantly surprised by in this film from 1955, the very first official Hammer horror / sci-fi film.
I liked it. I like these movies. These kind of B movies that they're well acted, well enough acted. I mean, I should say it definitely has sequel potential, but not the kind of sequel potential that I would have done.
There were sequels.
So, there is that. I liked it better than I thought I would. So there's that. I thought the effects were okay. Pretty good, actually, for that time, especially. I thought the actor who played the astronaut who came back and was infected,
The one that had no lines.
he says, "Help me."
Oh, does he?
But he does a lot without lines. It's very Frankenstein-ish.
I think they say he says, help me. I don't think
Yeah.
we ever see him say, help me.
It has Frankenstein type, like there's a little girl in it. It harkens to Frankenstein's monster quite frequently, I think. And he has that look about him. He has the gait of Frankenstein. It's kind of a mashup, I think, between like the Blob and the Invasion of the Body Snatchers, kind of all mixed in. I enjoyed it. I don't think there's anything that stood out to me that was particularly great. There's some nice shots. There's a shot towards the very end where the scientist is walking through the circles of light when he's going off to repeat his mistakes. I thought that was a cool final shot. I think it should have been the final shot. I liked it. There's some good shadow work in it. A couple of times I noted, but overall, I think it was good. It was what I expected, but better. Do you have things that you particularly liked?
Well, first thing I wrote is it's early Hammer, but it has all the stuff.
Yeah,
I
it
think.
does.
I mean, the sets, they're not really great, but
It's not a period piece.
no, it's true. It's your typical hospital wards, generic rooms, right?
It has that B movie
It does.
look.
I thought the acting was good. You said it was a good B movie. I would disagree. This is not, I don't think this is a B movie.
Really?
Yes. But,
Would you like to expand further, or are you just going to
no, it's
say
just,
yes? And
no, it's not a B movie. So this was a little history, boys and girls. So on the BBC, there was a whole series called I guess, Quatermass Experiment. It was like a whole season of these films over these. It was like a TV series, right?
okay, like the Twilight Zone or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, yeah. Well, no, it was a story. Like tune in next
Oh,
week, and it
okay. It was
continued.
a
And
drama or
this
whatever.
is the film version of it, of the
Oh,
first season, apparently. And it did do other seasons because, and there is the Quatermass 2, which we will eventually get to, Karen, I am sure, because it's on my list. And I think 3. I don't know. But, and the little girl, you mentioned the little girl. That was June Asher.
I don't know who is that.
She's a actress, and she was engaged to Paul McCartney of a little band called the Beatles for a short
Oh,
time, apparently. I think this was her first appearance in film. She's not credited, but that's
really? Because
who it
she had
is.
speaking lines and such.
I know. That's all I wrote, Karen.
You don't think it was like The Blob and Invasion of the Body Snatchers and um, I guess it's not Attack of
It's
the. It's not campy.
it's more like Invasion of the Body Snatchers than it is the Blob. They're different.
I guess. I thought it was very similar, but it's not
It's
campy.
more serious, yes.
So I see what you mean by that, but I still don't think it was fine cinema. That's what I'm calling it, a B movie. It kind of had that feel overall to it. Even movies we've
Well,
watched that are like the giant ants,
I
like
guarantee it's
them,
pretty
and
good for 1955, Karen. I'm just gonna tell you.
well, okay, that I don't know. So
And the effects were fine too. I mean, what there were of them. I think the actor who played Victor, he was just a scrawny dude, so it worked.
I thought he did a good job though. Like kind of emoting that you could see where there was tiny bits of
Like not
himself
saying
still there.
anything and emoting.
Well, but with his face and it looked I thought I could see the struggle of him, the last pieces of him being destroyed by what they called the fungus, but like you could see little bits of him in there and then he was gone. I thought he did a pretty good job with that.
Okay, anything you did not particularly care for, Karen?
Well, I think it's important to the story, but overall, I have a hard time with how bad scientists come out in these films. You know, the guy's just not likable, the scientist, which is pivotal to the story. But I don't know. It's like the clergy in religious horror films. They just never look good. And in science fiction films, it goes either one of two ways. No one listens to the scientist and everything goes to shit, or the scientist is an egomaniac and everything goes to shit. Sometimes both. But he was very unlikable, but he did a really good job of being unlikable. I also didn't really particularly care for the wife, the character of his wife. I thought she was the weak link. I didn't think her acting was as good as everyone else's. I thought she was pretty and I loved her clothes, but I just didn't think that she pulled her weight somehow in almost a distracting way to me. But she does move the story along, so she is essential. She breaks him out, so that's a part where it all kind of goes a little crazy. I think it kind of ends a little abruptly for me because as I was watching it, I'm like, we got about 6 minutes left. How are they going to take care of this thing? Right. And then there's one part in the movie where they're saying, oh, there's pieces all over London, blah, blah, blah. And then they blow up the one main fungus or whatever creature, whatever. And then they're like, okay, it's all good. And I'm thinking, what about the pieces all over London? Like, what happened to that story? It was like that storyline just stopped. So I felt like it was a little bit misleading because that's kind of the scarier part of it is that, and I didn't like what they did with the zoo animals. I was like, I wasn't going to like that. I don't like when they kill the animals. Personal preference, people. Is there anything you didn't like about it?
I wrote it's a little long. It could have been 10 or 15 minutes shorter, especially in 1955. It's a little choppy too. Like, I'm not a fan of the editing, I guess. A little choppy. I agree about the wife, Judith. I don't think she even need to be in it. I don't know what she does. I guess she moves it along, like you
Well,
said,
she
but
breaks him out.
no. I thought the scientist was fine. I disagree with you there.
He didn't listen to anyone. He didn't want it. Well, that's why you would like him.
The scientist?
He didn't.
Well, he's a scientist. Who's he got to listen to? I'm shocked that you're not on his side, Karen. He knows.
I've met those people. I know. They know everything, and you cannot convince them that they might possibly be wrong about something.
I didn't hear the thing about the pieces all over London, so you totally lost me with that.
It's when they're at the zoo.
And
Because that's when
speaking
they're
of the
saying,
zoo,
don't touch anything that is, well, it's funny, don't touch anything strange in the street. And I was like, well, there's probably a lot of strange shit in the streets.
they didn't kill any animals, Karen. I promise you. It's all special effects. All the animals, the lions and the cheetahs and everyone, they're fine. They're fine. I promise. They're fine.
Okay. All right.
They're probably gone now because
It is
it's
interesting, though, to see
1955.
the zoo where they used to keep and how far zoos have come. And I know
I
this
didn't
is
know. I wasn't
completely,
even sure it was a zoo. I'm like,
completely
where the
off
hell are
topic,
they?
but every animal is just in a cage, like they used to be, and they've come so far with these open areas, and they can move around and not just be in a cage, which, you know, but it is the zoological gardens, so it is a zoo.
Did we see a sign?
Yeah,
I didn't. So
I'm getting this sense that maybe Greg didn't pay a lot of attention to this movie.
I must have missed a lot because I didn't see any of that. I'm like, where the hell are they? Some animal sanctuary, a zoo? Here. I don't know. We'll see. But that's it.
Was it better than you expected it to be?
I think it was about exactly what I expected it to be.
Yeah, I had no idea what it was about, so I went
It
in
was a
blind.
Hammer film, so I figured it can't be Plan 9 from outer space.
Let it go.
Or the Blob or so. It was fine.
Well, it's checked off your list.
It is. What kind of cocktail rating you want to give this film, Karen?
I think it's a 3.
I would agree. 3 cocktails. And if I was drinking cocktails, that's how many it would have taken me to get through it.
Do you have a review from the Times?
I do, Karen.
Awesome.
Would you like to hear it?
Everyone is just waiting to hear it.
The review I have is from Variety, dated June 27th, 1956. So it premiered in the States a little later than it did over in the UK. But first, I have to tell you, Ken, this is a 6.6 out of 10 on IMDb. A 91% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes.
Wow, really?
What do Google users say, Karen?
I'm going high. I'm going to go 89%.
Oh my God. I'm giving you that one. 88, Karen.
Ah, I went
88%.
over, though. I am not correct. See?
I'm going to give you that one. 80.
Ooh, then I am. See, that's the theme of this podcast this week. I am correct. Don't argue with me.
Yeah. You just pulled that out of the air. Good for you. And it's fairly short, so I'll read the whole thing. A science fiction picture involving the presentation of a weird monster seemingly has a fascination for a portion of the film-going public. So, The Creeping Unknown, as it was called in the States, which contains these ingredients, should find a groove. It's a competently made drama containing sufficient suspense and frightening elements. The devastation wrought by the monster and the inability of the authorities to catch up with it have the familiar overtones of similar pictures, but as a whole, it should satisfy those fans who go for the premise. The monster in this case is a gelatinous octopus-like mass that absorbs all plant and animal life that it touches. The monster slowly resolves from a man who has undergone a complete change of his physical structure as a result of an interplanetary expedition. Returning to Earth in a state of physical shock, he is isolated in a hospital, but as he changes into the creeping plant-like substance, he escapes and begins his reign of terror. As the monster becomes a national menace, a state of emergency is declared in London, and the army, police, and civil defense are called out to track it down. The monster is discovered in the scaffolding in Westminster Abbey by a television camera crew shooting a documentary. It is finally destroyed by a maximum shock of electricity, with all the power in London being cut off to provide sufficient juice. The cast in general meets the demands of Richard Landau's screenplay, with Richard Donlevy as a dedicated scientist, Richard Wordsworth as the man who turns into the monster, Margia Dean as his wife, Jack Warner as a police official, and David Kingwood as an investigating scientist. Val Guest's direction brings out the maximum suspense factors. Technical aspects of the Anthony Hines production are standard. There you go. Sounds like they liked it. Variety. All right, Karen, before we get into it scene by scene, would you like to tell the boys and girls listening what film you have chosen for next week?
I've chosen a 1988 film. Are you excited?
Our glory years, Karen.
Elvira, Mistress of the Dark.
I believe I've heard of her.
You've probably seen her. At least pieces of her.
I probably have.
Yeah.
Any reason you chose this film, Karen?
Well, the podcast comes out on the 10th of September, and 1 week from then is Cassandra Peterson's birthday. So on the 17th.
Cassandra Peterson
is Elvira.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Karen.
But that was your week to pick, and you didn't pick Elvira. Shockingly, you didn't pick Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, so I had to pick up the slack.
Well, you don't know. I could have changed my mind.
Too late now.
Do we have a cocktail to go with it, Karen?
We do.
And what would that be?
It's from spiritsandistilling.com, and it's called Yours Cruelly. It's a tiki-style cocktail inspired by the Mistress of the Dark herself.
Yours what?
Cruelly.
Ah.
You need 1.5 ounces of bourbon, 1 ounce of apple brandy, 1 ounce of orange juice, 1 tablespoon of blackberry jam, 1 pinch of cinnamon, and 1 pinch of nutmeg. Add all the ingredients to a cocktail shaker with 1 large ice cube. Do your ice cubes as you please. Shake for 10 to 15 seconds and strain into a tiki mug, because it's a tiki-inspired drink. Over ice. Dust the top with nutmeg and garnish with blackberries.
What's the ingredients again?
Bourbon, apple brandy, orange juice.
Apple brandy. You got apple brandy in your bar, Karen?
No, but I might just cut up some apples and throw them in some brandy.
All right. Well, it sounds good.
We might. Did we use apple brandy for something, or did we use apple for something?
Oh, we used apple for this drink, Karen. Apple juice for our...
Well, maybe just mix a little apple
Quatermass
juice in there with the...
cocktail. Okay.
Or I don't know if they sell apple extract. Probably not, but we'll wing it. It'll be a fall-ish drink.
Can we add dry ice for a spooky twist?
You could. You can also enjoy.
Yes. All right. Well, I'm sure we all look forward to that, Karen. Elvira, Mistress of the Dark.
I'm pretty sure I've seen it, but I'm not sure I've seen it all the way through, all the pieces.
I've not seen it.
I think I
might have seen bits and pieces here and there, but I believe it's one of those horror comedies, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Ah, okay.
That you might not like, but we'll see.
Well, it depends. Depends on how much of Cassandra Peterson we see, I guess.
I'm sure you'll be entertained.
All right. Are you ready to get into the Quatermass Experiment?
Yes.
Quatermass Experiment from 1955. It's not rated, Karen. in the United
Well,
States.
where did you watch it?
I watched it on archive.org,
No, I watched it on Amazon.
and it was a colorized version.
Oh, that's interesting. Because on
It
Amazon,
wasn't
it's
very good
rated
colorized, but it was a colorized.
7+ for flashing lights.
Hmm, 7+. It was rated X in the United Kingdom originally, Karen, in 1955. And that means 16 and up,
Okay.
not suggested for anyone under 16. A lot different than our X rating here in the
Yes.
good old US of A. Film starts, we have credits. And then the next thing I wrote is, oh, this is colorized.
Mine was not.
And next thing I wrote is BBC television play because I knew that and I wanted to be sure I got it in there. This was a BBC television series and turned it into a movie. So then we see a couple. I wrote frolicking in a haystack, Karen.
Yeah, I think they might. They're they're supposed to be teenagers, but they're a little older.
Yeah, they're old.
Yeah, but I think they're supposed to be teenagers.
And they hear a noise. They run to a house. They hear a loud bang.
I'm like, I don't think that house is going to protect them, but whatever.
And then an old man gets his double barrel shotgun out.
Keep away from the windows. And he's like, it's probably just a meteor. Like that happens all the time. It's probably just a meteor.
But apparently it's a rocket.
Yes. It's stuck upside down.
Then do we see an ambulance driving through town or something? Or fire department?
Fireman
Yeah.
come first.
Driving through town, tell them to go back to their homes. Nothing to see here.
Yeah, they literally say nothing to see here. You're hampering operations because the ambulance and the fire truck can't get through, which is true, they are, but nobody leaves. That happens a lot in this movie. There's nothing to worry about. Go back to your house, but nobody does.
And I wrote right here, this is a really old movie.
Yeah.
You can
It's like
tell.
the firemen
The
look like
cars are, yeah.
they're wearing leather pants, but they must be fireproof pants, kind of.
Then we see, I wrote someone smoking a Marlboro, and they take a look at him.
Oh, that's the father from the house. He goes outside,
Oh, the guy
and I
with the
think
shotgun.
it's so hot that he's kind of exhausted and burned a little bit because they keep talking about how hot this rocket is and how they can't spray it with the water. I think that comes up now, but I think he's like overwhelmed from the heat and has his skin is a little like burned because he went outside.
Then we see a new newscast talking about the rocket ship, and they say stay away from the area. And then I wrote, we have see people driving, and I wrote, are they driving to the crash site? But maybe they're driving away from the crash site. Maybe they're getting the hell out of Dodge. I don't know.
No, they're all arriving in the VW bus
At the crash site?
to the crash. That's the
Yeah. All right.
minister of defense, the scientist, the doctor, and the wife are all in that bus, the VW bus.
And they're concerned about the three men who were in the rocket that crashed. And the next thing I wrote is the police are not doing a very good job of securing the area.
No, they're not.
And then we have a shot of old white men arguing. I wrote,
Well,
this is an old white man
Quatermass
movie.
is the scientist, and he's in charge of the experiment. And he kept saying, this rocket has gone 1,500 miles into space, and it's come back. And I don't know what's going on in there. We lost contact for that. You know, he's giving all the excuses. But he kept saying two things. The rocket went 1,500 miles into space, and that it's so hot they can't possibly get water on it yet, right? Like, so I'm like, 1,500 miles. This is 1950, what,
5, yeah.
56? I was like, how far is the moon?
That doesn't
'Cause
seem very far, does it?
Right?
Now that you mention it.
So, do you have a guess? Did you learn how
How
far
far
the
is the
moon?
moon? I bet it's probably close to 1,000 miles.
The moon is an average of 238,855 miles away
So,
from the Earth.
so it's about 200,000 miles away, Karen.
Yeah. That's a good guess, Greg. Good way to I didn't know, but I knew it was more than 1,500 miles. Like, because he kept saying, it's gone 1,500 miles. We don't know. And it's interesting, too, that
Well, this is
I
20
know.
years before this
Well, so then I looked
walk
up,
on the
well,
moon and
so
whatnot. So,
what? So I'm thinking,
no,
what
10
is,
years. This is 10 years before.
what's this hysteria, right? And I'm like, well, when was NASA made? Like, is this, you know how a lot of the like movies we watch are kind of reacting to the time, right? Like somebody's transplanting things, and then the first transplantation was a couple of years ago, previous to that, or whatever. So obviously, this was, I'm sorry, you just told me, 1955.
Yes.
President Eisenhower signed the National Aeronautics and Space Act of 1958 into law on July 29th, creating NASA. And the agency opened for business on October 1st, 1958. So obviously there was, I know that the film is in Britain, but there's obviously discussion about going into space, right? So someone is,
Yeah, from the US and I'm sure the
well,
Soviet Union.
the world, anyone. So they're you're hearing it, right? So I don't know if this is a response to that. I mean, these kinds of sci-fis are always around, but I was just kind of trying to put it in perspective in my own mind. And I have terrible, we all know, terrible geography, and history is not my strong point. So I was just trying to figure out, was there some sort of hysteria, or what was like War of the World? Like, what was the impetus for this? But so it's kind of close to that. But 1,500 miles, that's not very far. I don't know actually even how far what do they call it when they break through the layer? It's not the ozone layer. It's when they come back in the atmosphere. How far is that?
Don't know, Karen.
But anyway, but they lost radio control. So, and the other thing that's interesting is they shot this rocket up, right? And it came down pretty close to where they shot it up from. So, because he's coming in the little VW bus back to the,
Next thing I wrote is the scientists are very happy that they launched a rocket and it came back.
yes.
And they don't really care how the passengers are.
Either way, it's a success.
It's a success.
Because they can't, they're trying to contact him on the radio. They're
Yeah,
not getting any.
radio. Trying to radio the people in the rocket, which is right there in the ground in front of them. But whatever.
That's supposed to be so hot, but they're just,
Quatermass, I guess, is his name, thinks the passengers are alive, and he orders firefighters to blast water at the opening to the rocket.
well, the radio guy hears tapping inside. And he says something. So all of a sudden, it's like, spray water.
They're
Even though
alive.
they kept saying they can't spray water, but now they can because they would disintegrate or something. But they want to get, if somebody's alive, they want to get them out.
So open the hatch to the rocket. Firemen begin shooting water at it. And I wrote, Judith, the wife, she seems concerned. They turn off the water as a person emerges from the rocket. It's Victor Caroon, and Judith is very pleased because it's her husband.
Before you
Apparently.
go, yes. So the only, of course, it's her husband now, of the three of them. Before we go much further, it's important to, when you said the old white guys were arguing, the scientist launched the rocket without waiting for approval from whoever, the Ministry of Defense or whatever. So that's why they are struggling there, because one guy was a maverick and didn't listen and just launched his rocket.
I hate when that happens. I hate when someone launches their rocket without
You-
approval.
Everybody does, Greg.
Yes, I'm aware. So then we see a man looking at the rocket, and I wrote, ooh, there are men on the rocket who are dead.
You wrote, ooh, like,
Yeah, that's what it
yes.
says. Ooh, there are men on a rocket who are dead.
Well, but there's nobody. They go in to investigate this extremely hot rocket that they couldn't possibly, but now they're all in there. But there's just suits.
Yes.
There's nobody in them.
Quatermass, I guess we're calling him, checks the logs. Door's not been opened. Quatermass questions Victor in the ambulance. The doctors stop him from asking questions as Judith strokes his hair. And he says something to someone, question mark, help me. So that's his one line, I guess. And Victor clenching his fist. Then we have newspaper headlines, Karen. Space rocket scientific experiment rocket lands at night in the countryside.
So one of the newspapers was the Daily Mail, which
Okay.
is a British tabloid conservative newspaper that was founded on May 4th, 1896 by brothers Alfred and Harold Harmsworth. Later, Lord Northcliffe and Lord Rothermere. It became a popular success due to its low price, accessible human interest stories, and the use of new printing technology.
No naked women?
It might. Is that where page 6 is in the Daily Mail?
I
Or is
don't
that something
know.
else? I don't know either.
know either.
The newspaper has been owned by the Harmsworth family since its inception. So, 1896.
Page 6? Is that a thing, Karen?
Yeah, but I don't know what paper it's in.
Hmm. Then we see a man shaving, apparently with a fancy new razor, Karen.
Yeah, I thought with all this rigmarole he's going through, I'm thinking, oh, he's gonna like there's gonna be a recording from the rocket ship or something, the way they're like
No,
readjusting everything.
he's just getting a cord for his razor.
Yes. So
Whatever.
do you know when the first electric razor was invented?
I do not, Karen. Way
Well, it's
before my time, I'm sure.
by a U.S. Army colonel named Jacob Schick, who received a patent in 1928 and introduced his Schick dry shaver to the market in 1931. His company, Schick Dry Shaver Incorporated, eventually became Schick Incorporated and was later acquired by Norelco. So Colonel Jacob Schick was the inventor. But the amount of time there,
This guy's, I think he's using a Norelco.
you think?
Yes,
Okay,
I do. But go on. You were saying?
that's it.
Oh.
I'm just saying, like the way he's plugging everything in, I'm like, ooh, they're gonna, hear a recording or something. And he's like, "Zzz, got a date with the wife, got a lunch date with the wife.
So then we see men talking about Victor.
It was almost product placement,
It was almost.
you know?
Could not talk and he had a limp handshake, I wrote. Quatermass arrives and asks Victor not to be questioned, question mark. I have lots of question marks in this. My notes here. I'm like, what
Yeah,
is
because
going on?
so at the police station, the inspector was the one shaving. He's talking to one of his policemen, and Victor couldn't talk. He couldn't even respond to their hands or like handshake or whatever. So all they did was fingerprint him because that's all they could do. He wouldn't respond to questions. He wouldn't do the squeeze my hand, yes or no. So they fingerprinted him. And Quatermass is beside himself that they fingerprinted him like a criminal. But is this where the inspector says, look, 3 men went up,
Yes.
1 man came back. That's
Yeah, 2
minus
men
2.
died.
Yes, -2 in my book. So he's not saying he's a criminal, but he's not saying he's not a criminal
No,
because
he's not. But he needs to investigate the 2 deaths of the other Rocket members.
I said, here's a pissing contest, but go ahead.
And Quatermass gives him the files of each of them, apparently.
Yes.
And our next thing I wrote is the only investigation that's worth doing is a scientific one. Did
Yes.
someone say that? Probably this fucking scientist.
Quatermass is, and he goes,
Oh.
basically, he says, I'm the smartest. Good day. And leaves.
See, doctor's looking at Victor. He should not be alive, but he is.
Yeah, he's got an irregular heartbeat. His face and skin are looking, yeah, he's the shape of his face has changed, he says, with the bone structure, and
But the doctors tell his wife Judith, oh, he's doing fine.
he's great.
Doing fine. Doctor says Victor belongs in the hospital. Quatermass is not so sure.
The wife wants him in a hospital too.
Quatermass thinks they're on the brink of some great discovery.
They're on the brink of something tremendous, he says. So they can't stop now. It's their only chance to learn what happened to the others. But in the hospital, they have modern equipment, the doctor says. Briscoe, I think is his name. But then Quatermass says, but they don't know how to deal with a man who's been exposed to rocket radiation or the effects of pressure at 1,500 miles up. So They argue where the best place is for him to be, and then they're going to try. So Briscoe gives in to Quatermass, and they're going to try another transfusion, and then they tell Judith to stay with him because he needs her, and they leave Judith alone in a room with him, kind of where they can see. It's like an observation room, so there's windows, but the doors are closed.
So I wrote, Victor looks a little crazy. Inspector comes to see. Quatermass gives him the files about the members of the spacecraft. And we learn apparently Victor's fingerprints have changed, question marks. They do not appear human.
They certainly don't match.
Quatermass and others investigating the rocket. Are they taking DNA samples? I wrote.
It's the pieces, it's the slime.
Okay.
They're pulling out things and they say it could be human, it's pieces that have been left behind. It's the slime they talk about through the whole movie. But it's funny because they're all in there and they find this organic mass. Nobody goes, "Oh shit, maybe we should have gloves on or get a mask." Ah,
No, they have big long tongs.
yeah, what are those things those kids have? I don't know what it's called, but where you squeeze it and the big boxing glove would go out. That's what it looks like. It's a reacher, I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah, it's
Got
a
the
reacher.
X's of the metal but yeah, that's what they use. And then they put it into these
Expanding tongs.
little containers to go and study in the lab.
Then we see film of the rocket, and Quatermass says it's very important. I don't know.
They think the camera is smashed, but later it turns out they got the film out of it.
The
So
doctor in Victor's room examining him. Judith is asleep in a chair, and I wrote Victor restless.
do you know who Steve Buscemi is? Is that his name, Steve
Yes.
Buscemi? That's who Victor looks like at this
And it
point.
does, actually. Quatermass questions the doctor. Cells are the remains of two human beings, question mark, I wrote.
He thinks that it's there. First of all, let me congratulate them on the Bunsen burner that stays going the entire time. It's impressive. But yeah, they think it could be animal or human. It could have been human. He thinks it's the remains of the two human beings.
Victor rises from his bed. He knocks over a vase with flowers, Karen.
Yeah, because he got agitated when Judith was putting the flowers into the vase. I was like, did she cut her finger? Like, because they were roses. I thought maybe she cut her finger, but I don't know if he was going after her or the flowers. I couldn't really tell. Was it her?
I don't think so, because I didn't even notice. Judith calls the doctors in, and next thing I wrote is the two dead astronauts are jelly? Question mark.
Yeah, they think that they've turned into jelly.
Victor not looking good. Quatermass tells Judith she should be happy her husband gave his body for science.
Yeah, she's kind of pissed.
But no one comes to see him, I wrote. We see a man trying to get film from the rocket. Police
At the film,
arrive.
like it's being developed, and it was funny because the man who was developing is like, "Oh, I don't know, it's grainy. It's not my best work. You can't really see it that great." And the guy's just like, "Just give it to me. We don't care what it looks like." And then when they're looking at it, it looks fine.
Oh, yeah, it's fine. Police arrive. They want to keep everything quiet. Question mark, I wrote. Then we see video of the cockpit of the rocket.
They're watching the film.
It's really like a home movie, I wrote.
Yeah.
They have the video of
Greg,
the
it's
readings.
been 1,500 miles into space. What do you expect?
Well, they have the video from the readings of the control panel. It cuts in like every so often.
Yeah, so he was saying, he mentioned something about, oh, when it does that, he goes, oh, it worked. And he calls it some prism thing where it cuts to, every once in a while, it will cut to the controls. It also cuts off every once in a while. So it's something that he figured out and it's working. So the scientist is excited, saying, see, you can see the astronauts, you can see the control panels, then it cuts for a little bit and starts again.
And we see astronauts walking around the walls of the rocket, which I read is kind of like, I guess 2001 is kind of like a homage to this, maybe a little bit. Because when he walks around the walls of the cylindrical hallway there. Film ends. Then we have another film. Astronauts seem to be struggling, I wrote. The film stops as men in the rocket are consumed by an unseen force, question mark, I wrote.
So it's a kind of clear picture. And then there's this like they shake, like something hits them or something. And then it kind of goes blurry and comes back, and one man goes down. And then it kind of goes blurry again, and another man goes down. Then it goes blurry again, and the last man kind of staggers around. And then it ends, I think, right?
Judith goes to the hospital to check on her husband, Victor. She is told visiting hours is over or are over. Judith is told there is no change in him, no better or no worse.
Somewhere along the line, Quatermass tells her she can't see him anymore. He's not allowed to have visitors. Nobody's allowed to see him. And she's pissed because she wants to see him. So she goes in and asks about her husband, how he's doing. She finds out what room he's in. She finds out when the night nurse leaves. All she basically manipulates this poor guy into telling her all the information she needs. He's like the information guy at the front desk.
Then she goes to where the night nurse would exit to question him.
But that's not what she's doing. She's pretending to go there. He tells her to go wait at the staff entrance because that's where the night nurse will go out and she can talk to him, but she's got other plans.
And then I wrote, man impersonating a doctor enters, question mark.
Yeah.
Okay. He takes, as they say across the pond, a lift to see Victor.
He says wives usually employ me to get them away from their husbands, not to get together with their husbands. He's some sort of actor or private eye or something. He's going to go in. She's paying him to go in, flirt with the nurses, and bring Victor out.
He relieves the nurses on duty, is told that if he says anything to press a button, I guess if Victor says anything.
Yeah, so he comes in early, tells the nurse, "Hey, I'm here 30 minutes early. You can leave. Night shift is night." And the one nurse is like, "Woohoo!" Doesn't even say anything. Just like, "Cool with me. I'm leaving."
And he tells Victor his wife is downstairs.
Yeah.
And Victor stares at a cactus, I wrote.
And he tells Victor, "I'm going to get you out of here." And it does look at one point that the other nurse is going to come back. It looks like he forgot something, but then two pretty female nurses distract him and they all leave together
All right, Victor's hand twitches and he slams his fist down.
into the cactus. Yes.
I guess Dr. Christie takes Victor out of the hospital.
That's the guy that the wife is paying.
Yeah. Victor keeps his hands in his coat. Christie notices and asks what he is hiding.
As they're getting in the elevator.
And then I wrote, apparently he is smacked down in the elevator.
He shows him
As you put
what
it.
he's hiding. So yeah, so Victor kills Christy.
Victor goes to see Judith. Nurse finds Christie in the lift. He gone. So we see Judith driving Victor away. She smokes a Marlboro. She offers her Marlboro to Victor, but he turns on her. You don't look so good. He jumps out of the car and she's
Yeah,
screaming.
she's like, "We're gonna be fine. Everything's great. I'm gonna get you the finest doctors." And then he shows her his hand, I think, and she loses her mind and starts screaming.
Cut to the police investigating Christie's body. The life had been sucked out of him, Karen.
Yes.
Police talk about Judith.
Yeah, Judith isn't like any information from the wife. No, she's basically, they're wondering if she's just going to go out of her mind. That's how traumatized she is.
Next thing I wrote is moaning about a hand being covered with thorns.
That's all she'll say.
Quatermass calls Scotland Yard.
Because somebody remembers that there was a cactus in the room. Was that Quatermass or the inspector?
But everyone begins looking for Victor.
Lots of searching.
Yeah, lots of searching.
Montage.
And we see Doctor examining one of the other people in the rocket. And there's talk of life in outer space, 1,500 miles away. Quatermass thinks something got into the rocket and killed the crew and infected Victor. Cut to Victor at a store, question mark.
He's going to an apothecary.
It's closed, but they let him come in because he knocks on the door. He's looking for chemicals, question mark. Storekeeper asks if he is in pain. Victor's arm is very swollen. Victor kills the storekeeper, apparently.
Yeah, his face is getting worse and his arm looks like a cactus, kind of.
Inspector gets a call. He kisses his wife and leaves.
Yes.
Victor took an injection to try to kill himself, question mark, I wrote.
Yeah, that's what. So they go into the apothecary because I don't know, they didn't find the doctor, so I don't know how they knew there was a disturbance, but maybe someone went in and everything was amiss. But they show up and Quatermass was with the doctor at the apothecary, and the two theories are either he was trying to kill himself, his last bit of humanity was going to go in and take some sort of concoction to kill himself, or he was trying to find food. Because apparently this thing needs a lot of life force.
Inspector and the police find the body of a chemist in a closet.
The one he killed, yeah.
He gone. Then we see Victor walking through the countryside. And I wrote again, he don't look so good. And we see a woman with a baby carriage, question mark. And I'm like,
it's a girl.
No. And she brings the baby carriage down some stairs. I'm like, damn.
You can tell she doesn't have a kid.
And I'm like, oh no, it's June Asher.
Oh, well, I did not say that.
And she has a baby doll in her carriage. Victor walks up to her. She asks
it's kind of sad because she's like, we don't like those other girls anyway. We're going to have our own tea party.
I didn't notice.
That's because you've never been there, Greg.
She asks him to have tea and cakes with them. Victor destroys the baby doll and then he runs away.
Yeah, he throws it and it gets decapitated. But it's very reminiscent of Frankenstein. So I was curious, is this before or after is the Frankenstein book written where there's a child like that in it? There must be. But it's very, very Frankenstein-ish.
But the Universal Frankenstein, I think, predates this. You know?
I don't know. But like I
1930,
mentioned,
like 20 years.
Oh, okay, yeah. So it has the gait, the way he walks, the way he doesn't grunt, but he doesn't hurt the child. He doesn't take her life force.
Unlike Frankenstein.
Well, yes. But that's a mistake, I think.
Frankenstein's monster, I mean.
I don't think he does that on purpose.
Yeah.
But still, like
he don't mean no harm, Karen.
It's the tenderness with the child. He doesn't kill her. He just leaves. There's a flower involved. It's either just coincidence or an homage. Anyway, go ahead. He leaves the girl.
And then we cut to a police station, question mark. I wrote talking. I don't know. And then we're at a circus or a zoo. I wrote, see a view of Victor walking through the woods, dragging something behind him. Is he going to the lion house? I wrote.
I didn't see that.
Right. See police at the zoo. A cheetah is killed. Antelopes are killed. Animals.
Well, so first we see the night watchman of the zoo talking to all the animals, locking up, and he leaves. And then then the animals all get very agitated. You see them all getting worked up. And then Victor's in the bushes. And then the next morning, they find many unalived animals. And they you have to close the zoo, get everybody out.
So they close the zoo, and we see zoo security, I guess, turning people away. Sorry, folks, zoo's closed. Cut to a doctor examining. I wrote the brush. What are they examining?
So the inspector follows the slime trail. We start to see now that there's a slime trail into the bush. So it's like a snail.
Yeah.
But it's Victor. But he's probably growing tentacles and things at this point. So he's leaving this slime trail everywhere, and they follow it to the bush that he was hiding in.
And then I wrote, they find something that is alive and put it in a baggie, question mark.
It's a fragment
I'm
of
all
the
very
main
confused.
organism. This is where they find a piece of the main organism. So, and they are saying these could be all over the city, these pieces. So they take that piece back to the laboratory. There's no living thing on Earth that stands a chance against it. How are we going to fight it?
And
How do
it's
we
something
stop
that
it?
absorbs living things and they have no defense against it.
Yes.
Then we cut to a woman named Rosie at the police station, and she's pretty much comic relief, but she does give some good information. She
Yeah, but
tells the
if
police
this is
what
a
she
scene
saw.
that's way too long, but
Yeah.
she is comic relief.
She tells them her story for a fee. She has to be paid.
Yes.
And she saw
Apparently
something.
she does this a lot.
Yeah. She saw something moving. I don't know. And the police.
Climbing up a wall. And then they tell her she actually did see it and she can't believe it because usually she's hallucinating because she's a little intoxicated. And so she passes out when she's like, "What? I actually saw this."
Scotland Yard calls Quatermass. Quatermass and other police officers arrive. They climb a tall ladder.
Where Rosie said she saw the thing and there is a big slime trail up the wall.
Doctor decides Victor was there. Next thing I have written down is don't touch anything unusual.
Yes. Don't touch anything in the street, especially the children.
Back at the lab, I wrote.
With the Bunsen burner going.
Glass cage breaks holding the fungus of Victor question mark. It spreads.
They've been feeding it animals to see
Nice.
how much it needs to survive, and it's a lot. But they leave it in this glass case and it breaks out of the case, the glass, and it's going towards the cage of mice, it does look like an octopus thrown on the floor.
It does. And it is.
But they're
Doc
like, what would have happened if it had gotten to these mice?
Doctor and Quatermass arrive. They find that whatever the thing was has escaped. I wrote, looks like an octopus. Order an immediate search, I guess.
But they found their piece of it is just in the lab on the floor.
But then we see the army searching the
They're
field
like, we got to search everywhere.
and sewers.
So we get another montage of searching. There's BBC broadcasting the
Yep.
anti-panic messages on television.
This is what makes it a little long. All these.
Don't touch anything unusual, but don't panic.
Next thing I wrote is camera one has no feed, but camera two has the feed with a body.
So they're doing a documentary about the restoration of Westminster Abbey on the BBC. So Westminster Abbey, in case you didn't
I'm
know,
sure there
Greg.
was a restoration going on at this time, right?
Yeah. It looks like they filmed on the outside, but not the inside. Began as a 10th century Benedictine monastery on Thorney Island before being rebuilt as a royal church by Edward the Confessor in the mid 11th century.
Why
The
are
pre-
why are churches called abbeys?
I don't know that, but I can tell you that the present Gothic church was begun by Henry III in 1245 and has been the site of every British coronation since William the Conqueror in 1066.
Oh, thank you for that, Karen.
It's also a burial place for many monarchs, and it's a national symbol containing the tombs and memorials of numerous influential figures in British history.
Quatermass
It,
inspector arrive.
an
Inspector
abbey is where monks are. So I don't know if that's because it started as a monastery. That might be why.
Inspector wants the whole abbey cleared, and the transmission has to stop.
Well, okay, I kind of talked over you before, but yes, the camera shows a dead man who fell from the rafters. And so what do? They go, "Well, do you want to continue?" And the guy's like, "Yeah, I'm fine." The guy who's doing the show, because it's live, and they've already shown the audience a dead person, and then they just move on to the stained glass window in a different part of the abbey. Quatermass is like, "No, everybody has to get out," and they just are not listening. But then they pan up from the guy talking about in the documentary, and
BBC, and then we see video of a creature, and then the director cuts this scene.
kind of looks a little like Jabba the Hutt.
Looks like an octopus.
Yeah.
Quatermass and Doctor arrive. They try to come up with ways to kill the creature. they mention a flamethrower or possibly dynamite. They're going to blow up Westminster Abbey.
Well, that's one thing is a problem. But then they're like, no, if you blow the pieces everywhere, they're all going to start reproducing. That's what that's the whole problem of it. And then there's dormant. All of a sudden, they have all this knowledge about the creature.
Yes.
Well, it goes into a dormant phase every
Yes.
80 to 90 minutes, and then it reproduces, and then it goes into a dormant. So we're right at the end of the dormant phase. It's right about to reproduce. Spores are going to go everywhere.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I wrote. And I wrote, it looks like a big octopus. They're going to try to electrocute it, apparently. And they pull all the power from London.
It's on a scaffold, so it is on a metal thing.
Big Ben goes dark.
Yes. All the big what are the monuments of London go dark. You see everything, the bridge,
And we hear a broadcast that there is no cause for alarm. Attention, everybody. There is no cause for alarm.
Nothing to see here. Move along.
They connect electricity to the scaffolding that the creature is on. They turn on the electricity to the scaffolding, and the creature goes up in flames, Karen. Quatermass and the police go into the abbey to investigate. Creature is in flames. Quatermass leaves. He tells his assistant
He doesn't talk to anyone on the way out. They're asking him questions. He just is walking straight out the door like he's on a mission.
And his assistant says, well, what now? And he says, I'm going to start again. Then we see a rocket taking off. The end.
But again, there's the pieces all over London, but whatever. Definite sequel potential.
Yeah, and I'm not sure we got the whole Quatermass scientist, what he was trying to do in this film, right?
I think his whole thing was like the rocket.
Like this was his thing. I mean, I'm sure in the series that this is based on, we got more in depth into what the hell he was trying to do. Why is he doing this?
True, and I bet if you watch the series, the movie made a lot more sense.
I'm sure. All right, Karen, what did you think of the, I guess, Quatermass cocktail?
It's delicious.
Mine has evaporated. It is delicious. It's very fall-like.
It is.
It's going to be in the 60s this week, Karen.
I don't know what to do with myself.
Anything we learned today, Karen?
We learned about when NASA was formed. We learned about how far away the moon is in miles. It does mean, it says 30 Earth-sized planets could fit between Earth and the moon. But the moon is slowly moving away from the Earth, getting about an inch farther every year. A little bit about the Daily Mail, Colonel Schick and his electric razor, and Westminster Abbey.
All right. Anyone you need to thank this week, Karen?
Well, we need to thank our listeners. You know why, Greg? Because there are so many podcasts out there. We really appreciate that you spend time with us. What about you, Greg? Who do you need to thank?
Karen, I'm going to once again thank the band Verse 13 for providing all the music in the Scary Spirits podcast.
The music definitely makes the podcast better.
Anything else, Karen?
Please drink responsibly.
Yes.
Thanks for listening to the Scary Spirits podcast, where the movies might be iffy, but the drinks are always solid. We would love to hear from you. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Scary Spirits Podcast, or go to our website, scaryspirits.com. And if you want the direct line, email us at info@scaryspirits.com. If you really want to help us out, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. And remember, always drink responsibly. See you next week.